The date is December 29th, 1968. The event, the 49th NFL Championship game. And the result, an overwhelming testament to the strength of the Baltimore Colts. In what was later termed a perfect championship, Cleveland came up on the short end, 34-0. A methodical destruction, cool, steady, and expected. The main question that faced the 1969 Colts was, could they repeat the performance of 1968? By season's end, the question had been answered, and unfortunately was an answer which obscured the fact that the Colts, although not champions, had a fine year by any standards, a year worth a second look. The season got off to a disappointing start as the Colts squared off against the Los Angeles Rams. In a seesaw battle, the Colts lost by a slim 7-point margin. The key to defeat was a few crucial defensive mix-ups, mistakes which would take on more importance the following week. Baltimore never had a chance against the Vikings. Joe Kapp started a passing tidal wave, and by the time it finally splashed down, 7 touchdown passes had filtered through the Sunday air. It was a shocking defeat, one that turned the team around as the Colts bounced back to win the next 3 games. The Colts trailed the Falcons 14-7 with 24 seconds left in the first half when Jim Duncan took a kickoff and raced 92 yards to tie the game at halftime. Midway through the fourth quarter, Johnny Unitas hit John Mackey in the right corner, and the Colts had victory number 1. The following Monday night, Baltimore beat Philadelphia in muggy, misty weather that plagued both teams. Tom Addy punched over 2 touchdowns from inside the 5, and the Colts won 24-20, bringing their record to 2-2. The Colts played their best game to date the next Sunday in New Orleans. Tom Addy gained 99 yards rushing, and Jimmy Orr had one of the best days of his career, gaining 113 yards on 5 receptions. Johnny Unitas hit on a phenomenal 20 of 28 passes for 319 yards. And his touchdown passes were the decisive factor in a satisfying 30-10 win. At this point in the season, the offense had gelled into a dependable and productive unit. The offensive line was headed by Bill Curry, number 50, considered by many to be the best blocking center in football. Glenn Ressler and Dan Sullivan held down the guard positions, and the starting tackles were Bob Vogel and 73 Sam Ball. With Cornelius Johnson and John Williams filling in, it was a line that gave excellent protection for the quarterback and also opened up big holes for the running backs. Johnny Unitas is a football legend, and he did nothing last season to lessen his legend. The Hall of Fame's all-time quarterback even added a few new wrinkles to his attack, such as this jump shot. and a novel last-second lateral. Unitas was backed up by Earl Morrow, the 1968 Player of the Year, who gave the Colts impressive strength at quarterback. '69 was a bone-bruising year for Colt receivers. Willie Richardson, number 87, was the only one to escape injury, and he led all receivers with 43 receptions for 646 yards. John Mackey came on strong at season's end and scored the longest touchdown pass of the year, 52 yards against the Cowboys. After 12 years in the league, Jimmy Orr can still slip a tackle better than anyone else. But he was lost through injury after the Packer game, a bad blow to the Colts passing game. Ray Perkins replaced the injured Orr, proving to be a steady performer. He ran the end around with good results. Tom Mitchell, number 84, was also lost for the season after the Packer game. He caught only 9 passes this year, but 3 of them went for touchdowns. The Colts' first draft choice, Eddie Hinton, filled in for Orr and Perkins, showing good hands and a bright future. The offensive backfield was also hit by injuries. Fullback Jerry Hill, a rugged 8-year veteran, was able to carry the ball only 49 times this season and was used mainly as a pass blocker. Hill's injury gave young Terry Cole a chance to shine. Cole is a fast, bull-strong runner who should give the Colts several good years at fullback. Rookie Sam Haverlack surprised a lot of people when he turned up as a running back after playing quarterback in college. He came through with good marks and showed promise. Preston Pearson was used occasionally at running back, and his water bug moves allowed him to average 3.6 yards per carry. But Tom Matte was the real story in the Colts backfield. The league's third leading rusher, the Colts' inspirational leader, and one of the most complete players in the game's 50-year history. Matte gave 100% every play, every game. His 909 yards rushing was his finest total ever. And as if that wasn't enough, he tied Willie Richardson for the most passes caught in '69. His combined yardage was the highest in the league. But statistics don't interest Tom Matte. Winning does, and nothing else. When Tom Matte leaves a football field, his effort has been total, his effect usually devastating. The specialty teams gave added punch to the offense. Lou Michaels was the team's second leading scorer with 75 points. And David Lee had the best punting average in the league. His high kicks allowed good coverage, which usually kept the other team in poor field position. He also showed an amazing ability to kick his way out of trouble. The Colts have one of the finest kickoff returners in the league in Preston Pearson, number 26. He returned more kickoffs in '69 than anyone else, and his 706 yards was the second best in the NFL. Jim Duncan was a perfect complement to Pearson. He averaged 29.5 yards a return, and that too was second best in the NFL. In the sixth game, the Colts faced San Francisco in a game that marked the turning point of the season. This interception put the Colts behind 24-21 with little time left. There was still hope, though, as the defense stymied a punt, giving the offense a chance to pull the game out. But Tom Matte had the ball punched away, and the 49ers won 24-21. It was not a happy day. Coach Shula knew changes had to be made. He moved Bob Grant, Ted Hendricks, and Tom Maxwell into starting positions and switched Mike Curtis to the middle linebacker spot. The only part of the defense that remained unchanged was the front four, which consisted of Bubba Smith at left end and Roy Hilton on the right side. The middle was anchored by Fred Miller and Billy Ray Smith. Bubba Smith again used his power and size to good advantage. Roy Hilton's touchdown dash against the Vikings, although spoiled by a penalty, was a good example of his heads-up play. Veteran Fred Miller was named to the Pro Bowl team this year in recognition of his fine season. And Billy Ray Smith had another fine year, proving to be an effective pass rusher. The linebacking corps was revamped and put on quite a showing the last half of the season. Ted Hendricks became a starter as a result of the changes, and he plagued enemy runners using his 6'7" size to spin them down. Bob Grant also became a starter midway through the season and did an outstanding job at the left linebacker spot. His alert play accounted for 3 interceptions and a lot of hard hitting. Mike Curtis is rapidly growing into one of the toughest middle linebackers in football. He was switched to the middle spot after the loss to the 49ers and did an outstanding job. His actions speak for themselves. The defensive backfield was again spearheaded by 7-year veteran Jerry Logan, who still hits with a rookie's abandon. Charlie Stukes, number 47, replaced Bobby Boyd at cornerback and showed promise at that position. This season marks the 12th and final year for Lenny Lyles, captain of the defensive team. When he lost his starting position to Tom Maxwell, he did everything he could to help turn him into a worthy successor. His efforts were rewarded. Maxwell's good range promises to make him a bright star for years to come. Second-year man O.C. Austin occasionally filled in for Stukes at cornerback, where he was helped by his good speed. The cornerstone of the defense was safety Rick Vogt, a hard hitter, an excellent pass defender. He led the team with 4 interceptions. After all the defensive changes were made, the unit oftentimes created a mood of its own. The Colts saw defeat only twice in their last 8 games. They faced the Redskins in the 7th game of the season and demolished them 41-17, as Tom Matte scored 3 touchdowns and Sam Haverlack ran over his first professional touchdown in a very convincing victory. The Colts brought their record to 5-3 with a hard-fought win over the Packers. In what proved to be a defensive battle, the Colt front 4 gained the upper hand, with Fred Miller playing a fine game. Tom Mitchell caught his last pass of the season, and it was enough to win the game. On the next play, Mitchell injured his knee and was lost for the season, but Baltimore won 14-6. After a 3-point loss to the 49ers, the Colts traveled to Chicago and came away with win number 6. Terry Cole's blast up the middle tied the game with little time remaining. And Lou Michaels' field goal in the last 12 seconds gave the Colts an exciting 24-21 victory. The following week accounted for a second win over the Falcons as Ray Perkins set up the winning score with this pass from Unitas. Tom Matte went in for the touchdown and Baltimore won 13-6. In some of the worst weather of the year, the Detroit Lions provided unexpected excitement for the spirited Baltimore fans. The Lions jumped off to an early lead with this score, and within 16 seconds had another touchdown and a 14-3 lead as Jim Duncan bobbled away the kickoff. Then came the most controversial play of the year. David Lee's punt hit a line and was recovered in the end zone by the Colts, but the referee correctly ruled a touchback instead of a touchdown. The fans didn't agree, though, and held up the game for 14 incredible minutes. Bill Munson came up to the line time after time, but the booing drowned out his signals, and he had to retreat. Finally, Earl Morrall hit Eddie Hinton, who made a spectacular catch to salvage a 17-17 tie. After a loss to Dallas, the Colts traveled to Los Angeles to close out the 1969 season. A win over the Rams would be a fitting climax for a team that had started off poorly but come on strong in the second half of the season. John Mackey ended up in good form, as did Willie Richardson. The Rams scored once, but Baltimore was in command all the way. Tom Matty played his now expected fine game, and the Colts won 13-6 to close out 17 highly successful years in the NFL. With Matty's final touchdown, one era came to an end, and another loomed on the horizon. In 1970, the Colts move into the American Conference and a new decade. In Buffalo, they will face a strong defense and O.J. Simpson, one of the game's most heralded players. The Boston Patriots have an explosive threat in Carl Garrett, number 30, the AFL's Rookie of the Year in 1969. Miami's Bob Greasy is one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. His passing and scrambling will surely test the Colts defense. The New York Jets still have Joe Namath, and the Colts still have thoughts of a Super Sunday. The move to the American Conference promises to restart an instant rivalry with Namath and the Jets. With Greg Cook of Cincinnati, in addition to Greasy and Namath, the American Conference has a corner on great young quarterbacks. It's interesting to note that the 1970 draft gave them 3 more top prospects in Terry Bradshaw, Mike Phipps, and Dennis Shaw. Baltimore is in for some tough competition, and they should weather it well. The last losing season in Colt history was 1956. 1970 will not be the next.